Now, this is really common in financial planning. They say that it is safer to use a 5% rate of return. Anything above that, you're overestimating the market and your average investment and all these other kind of things. This gives you kind of a cushion so that if you get better returns, blah, 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 blah. So, generally speaking, here's what happens. You get a little bit of money in your account, then they say, oh, you should talk with one of our financial advisors at the bank. Then you go into a room, and this is exactly what it looks like, right? Somebody sitting at a desk, smiling, and nothing of value actually happens when you're in there, but they convince you to invest your money in something. So, what'll happen is they'll take you through this risk questionnaire. Have you answer a few questions, then they'll slide something across the table that looks like this. This is RBC's balanced fund. I'm just using them as an example, but if it's TD or any of the other firms, it'll look something like this. It'll give you a breakdown all in here, and really and truly, they don't know what is in this fund of funds, but it's balanced, and if you invest in it, you're not going to get sued, and you'll get maybe a 5-6% return at best. Not to mention, your fees will look something like this, so making your return even lower. Now, part of this I blame on Canadian regulators, right? Because the financial advisor at the bank for the longest time was only licensed to sell mutual funds. And within the rules of the mutual fund space, you can basically slide a mutual fund's holdings across the table, and you can sort of say, oh, it's invested in equity, it's invested in fixed income, but you can't really talk intelligently about the stocks that are inside the mutual fund, right? Or the bonds, because you're not licensed to talk about those things. You're only licensed to talk about mutual funds. It's one of the most ludicrous regulatory hurdles, and it's changing, but like for the longest time, that was the thing. So the financial advisor at the bank had no idea what was in the funds, and even if he did, he'd get in trouble for trying to explain it to the client and say, oh, here's why it might be bad, here's why it might be good, blah, 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 because of the regulation. So you get a bunch of people who come out as moderate. The guy who's supposed to be the advisor doesn't know anything about the fund he's investing you in, and so he puts you in something generic that meets the, suitability, and then you get no returns. For almost all my clients over the years, we rarely invest in fixed income just because, for the most part, it's been an absolute drag on returns. And I can't see a scenario where it's ever going to be something that performs well over a long period of time. So that is why I use higher than average returns. Maybe 10's too high, but it is what it is.